Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
It's our TOEIC unit. It's day 2. We are learning how the toilet gurus can help you. People who are really expert at anything that has to do with the toilet and the bathroom, but especially the toilet, or as our author called it, the porcelain throne, which is sometimes a funny way to refer to a toilet. There are lots of fun words for toilets and going to the bathroom and, euphemisms, as we call them. Americans tend not to talk too directly about going to the bathroom in public. It's not something that we think is acceptable. So we keep that in our private lives, or we use other words for it. My dad never said, I don't think he's ever said like going number 1, going number 2. My mom would because she had to raise children. But my dad always says going to the bathroom, but even that, he doesn't like to talk about it.
But today, of course, we're going to be calling the toilet gurus for help. It's the toilet gurus to the rescue. We've got Doug and Wendy having a conversation here about Wendy's toilet problems, and Doug is going to help her solve those problems. So let's get to it. Let's listen to their conversation right now. Toilet gurus, this is Doug speaking. How can I help you this evening?
Hi, Doug. An acquaintance recommended your services. I live at 487 Browser Avenue. I'm dealing with a clogged toilet, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Can you share some information about how it became clogged?
I'm not really sure. All I know is that one of my kids did it. My youngest child has a tendency to be naughty. It's highly likely that he stuffed it with toilet paper and flushed it.
Whatever you do, don't try to flush it again, or else it might overflow and things could get messy.
Is there any possible way you could repair it tonight?
We have an exceptional plumber in your area who's available now to assist you.
Let's discuss the price beforehand. How much would it cost, roughly speaking, to repair the toilet?
Our standard fee for clogged toilets is $1,500 NT.
That's a bit higher than I anticipated. I would need to go out and withdraw some money from the ATM.
I'll tell you what I can do. Seeing that you're a new customer, I can offer you a special one-time 50% discount.
I'd be really grateful for that. So the total would only be 750 NT dollars?
That's correct.
Great. I have that in cash in my purse.
I'll call the plumber right away then. He should arrive at your home in about 20 minutes.
Let's get started, guys. We've got our toilet gurus to the rescue. We often will say, somebody to the rescue. Usually it's because someone's in kind of a tight situation or situation that they need emergency help. Don't delay. So you want to send somebody to their rescue or to the rescue. We've got toilet gurus, Doug. He actually works for the company, and he answers the phone. Meanwhile, we've got Wendy. I'm Wendy. And I go ahead and tell him what it is I need or want. So it says an acquaintance recommended your services. So she knows someone who actually said, hey, you should call the company Toilet Gurus. They're good. They did a great job when they came to my house. So she has their phone number from an acquaintance, some sort of friend. Not a close friend, of course. An acquaintance isn't someone that you know that well, but she can trust them, it sounds like. She gives them her address. Now, with addresses or addresses, you can pronounce that either way. Usually, if there are 3 numbers, we divide it like this. We say 487. You'll rarely hear an American say 487 which is, we just say 487 for some reason. We do that with hotel rooms, with flight numbers on airplanes. Usually if there are 4 digits, we'll separate them into 2. So pretend this address was 1487, we'd say 1487. And she's dealing or struggling with a clogged toilet. It's not flushing, it's stopped up. And she says it's an absolute nightmare. Absolute usually means complete or perfect. We add it when we want to emphasize how good or bad something is. A nightmare is obviously horrible. So it's an absolute nightmare. It's 100% a nightmare. There's nothing good about her situation.
Right, it's a total 100% nightmare, and of course, it is indeed. If you have a clogged toilet, it's impossible to go to the bathroom unless you have another bathroom in the house. Not everybody lives in such a house. Sometimes, a family of 6 or a family of 10 have to share one toilet, so that would be a disaster if the toilet were clogged. And Doug is on the phone, and he's got a question. Can you share some information about how it became clogged? Now, he could have asked directly, how did it get clogged? Okay, but, sometimes that's a personal thing. People sometimes flush weird things down the toilet. So he's being polite here. Can you share some information? Okay, would it be possible for you to give me some information about how it became clogged? Because we need to know how it became clogged in order to fix the problem.
Sometimes it's embarrassing to tell the plumber how exactly someone clogged up your toilet or what happened. Usually if someone has kids, it's probably something one of the kids did, and that's what happened here. She says, all I know is that one of my kids did it. Her youngest has a tendency to be naughty. If you have a tendency to be a certain way, it just means part of your character makes you behave in a certain way. It doesn't have to be naughty. It could be good. Maybe someone has a tendency to be extra thoughtful or extra clean and is always cleaning up. Well, her youngest child has a tendency to be naughty or do things that are sort of bad and irritating to moms, of course. It's highly likely that he stuffed it with toilet paper and flushed it, knowing beforehand or before he did it that it was going to clog the toilet.
What a naughty kid. And yes, he has this tendency to be naughty. Like me, I have a tendency to insult people sometimes just to see what their reaction would be. But it's all in fun. Of course, I later have to tell the person that I'm just kidding. But in this particular case, the kid has a tendency to be naughty. And yes, he may have stuffed it with toilet paper and tried to flush it, and that clogged the toilet. Now, Doug goes on to say, whatever you do, don't try to flush it again. So yeah, you can do anything but flush the toilet again, or else it might overflow. If something overflows, that means the water is just too high for the container. You could say that about a river during a flood. Oh, the river overflowed its banks, and now there's a big flood in the city. And so here, of course, you don't want to flush your toilet again, or you're going to have water and other nasty things on the floor of your bathroom.
Yeah, poop and urine. It's pretty awful. Ugh. So is there any possible way you could repair it tonight? She's desperate. She'll do anything to have that plumber come over. Well, Doug says we have an exceptional plumber in your area. If someone's exceptional or something's exceptional, they're unusually good. They're better than good. They're wonderful, exceptional. So if someone has exceptional talent, they have a lot of talent that you usually don't see in people. Well, this plumber is especially good or exceptionally good, and he seems to be in her neighborhood. So Wendy's smart. She wants to discuss the price beforehand. Beforehand just means in advance or ahead of time. She doesn't want to wait until after he's done the work and then charges her 5,000 NT dollars. She'd rather have some sort of idea how much it will cost, and she might need to prepare some cash to give him.
Right, back to this word beforehand, I could say, I like to make my hotel reservations beforehand so that I don't have to look for a hotel when I arrive at my destination.
Sure.
I like to make those reservations ahead of time. Sometimes, hotels are full or whatever, especially in a country as crowded as Taiwan. And during Chinese New Year or something, it might be difficult to get a reservation. So, yes, they want to discuss the price ahead of time. And Doug says, our standard fee for clogged toilets is $1,500 NT. And Wendy says, that's a bit higher than I anticipated. Sounds too high to her. Here we've got the word anticipate, which means that's what you expected, that's what you thought it would be.
You can also use anticipate to say that you're looking forward to something or you're sure of something. I anticipate. So maybe I anticipate, or the kids were anticipating Chinese New Year, or the kids were anticipating the holiday that was just around the corner, looking forward to. Here, of course, as Tom said, just means she was expecting the fee to be a little bit cheaper than that. So she needs to go outside and withdraw some money from an ATM. And Doug, being a good businessman, sees a business opportunity and gives it to her. He says, seeing that you're a new customer, or we could also say, since you're a new customer, or because you're a new customer, all of those are correct. I can offer you a special one-time 50% discount. If it's one time, it will never happen again. But that's a nice discount. That's half price.
Exactly. So, yeah, you're a new customer, so I'm going to be nice to you and offer you half off the price, a 50% discount. And Wendy says, well, I'd be really grateful for that. I am very grateful that you offered that special price to me. So she does some mathematics in her head, and she says, so the total would be only $750 NT. Of course, that is half of $1,500 NT. That's great math skills there. I'd be able to figure that out myself. And Doug confirms her calculation. He says that's correct. So, yeah, $750 NT to unclog a toilet. To me, that still sounds kind of high, but sometimes you're in a jam and you just got to have that toilet fixed. They basically have you where they want you. You have no choice but to say yes.
Yeah, I think if you're desperate, you're willing to pay that fee. Tom, you probably know how to fix a clogged toilet, so any sort of price might be a little expensive to you. If I don't know how to do something, I'm willing to pay more money to get it fixed. But I know that sometimes I can go to the store and buy that liquid I call Drano and use that. You know, one time I had to use 5 bottles, but still.
Ooh, really?
I didn't want to have to call a plumber. So, yeah, if you know how to do something, if you're not willing to pay as much money. If you don't have any idea how to fix something, you're willing to pay more money to get it done.
Yeah, so you got to watch out sometimes for that, especially if it's like for changing a light bulb or fixing a switch or something like that. It may sound like something easy to do, but then when you call the electrician over, they'll charge you a lot for it, and you'll be thinking, it would have been just as expensive for me to go down to my local community college and take an electronics course or something like that.
No.
And learn how to fix it myself after they get done charging you. But in any case, I guess to Wendy, this is a fairly reasonable price here, $750 NT to unclog that toilet. And she says, great, I have that in cash in my purse. She will not have to go to the ATM and withdraw some money.
That's good news. So she has some cash in her purse, enough at least to pay for the plumber after he finishes unstopping. Remember, I taught you stopped up. So if you unstop something, you clear up that obstruction or the clog, wherever it is. So, yeah, he's going to unstop her toilet. We also will use these phrases to talk about sinks. Your sink can be clogged with hair and what have you. Even your kitchen sink can be clogged with Perhaps maybe you have some food that has gone down the pipe, or that you shouldn't have let go down. So you can unclog or unstop any of these sinks or toilets by calling a plumber, or by figuring out how to do it yourself. You can save a couple of dollars at least. Sometimes it can be kind of expensive, but whatever you do, don't let it overflow. That is a mess. Then you have to clean up stuff from all over the floor, and it just will smell bad for a long time.
It sure will. We haven't mentioned a little tool that you can sometimes use. It's called a plunger. You could try that in the toilet and push it down a few times, and it might unclog your toilet. A lot of times it doesn't work, though. So, at the end of the day, you might still have to call the plumber.
Oh, I think everyone should own a plunger. I use those a lot. Yeah, they work pretty well. Also, there's a tool called the snake that you might want to invest in that helps you get further into your toilet and down the pipe so you can pull out whatever's stopping it up.
Yeah, some people may not want to do that because that's where your poo and your pee went.
Ooh.
So, you're going to stick something down there in that hole where all your dung is gone. Who wants to do that? But, sometimes you do have to get a little dirty to make things clean again. But Doug says that he'll call the plumber right away. There's a plumber in her vicinity. Plumber is there nearby, and he should arrive at your home in about 20 minutes. And then Wendy's toilet problems will be a thing of the past, and she can have herself a squat on the cosmic utensil and play with her phone for hours on end. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion about Doug and Wendy's.
I would call it a cosmic device, Tom.
Well, I'm quoting a Frank Zappa song, but that's something else to talk about.
He called it a utensil?
In a song, he did, yeah. But,
that's weird.
But, it's not common, but I'm a Frank Zappa fan, so I had to say that. But in any case, that does bring us to the end of their conversation and our discussion about their conversation. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher before we come back and introduce some useful expressions to you and have a discussion question.
大家好，我是 Patrick 派老师。我们今天所讲解的课程是5月份杂志 Unit10 第2天的课程。课程的标题是 Toilet Gurus to the Rescue， 马桶有问题，找马桶大师就对了。好，这是听力练习，有一段电话对话，和第1天课文内容马桶维修服务有关。有位女性打电话到 Toilet Gurus 询问马桶堵住了，请问他们过来维修需要多少钱？ Toilet Gurus 那一头是 Doug 接起电话，他报了优惠价格以后，女顾客同意。Doug 随即派遣他们公司的水管维修人员要全网去维修。我们一起来看看对话内容有哪些学习重点。首先是 Doug 接起电话 Toilet Gurus, this is Doug speaking. How can I help you this evening? 好，请同学注意哦，接起电话，这就是我们标准的问候方式。我是某某某 ，This is Doug speaking. 我就是 Doug. How can I help you? 我如何可以协助你？请问您有什么需要服务的？那接着呢，女性顾客说明获得他们服务资讯的管道，并表明来电用意。同学在讲电话的时候要注意，这也非常的重要，请先表明自己的身份。我们看女性顾客如何表明自己身份。Hi Doug, an acquaintance recommended your services. 我有个熟人，他推荐你们公司的服务。接着呢，他就报上自己的地址。以及他打电话来的用意 I'm dealing with a clogged toilet. 我的马桶堵住了。好，接着那 Doug 就问他说到底是发生了什么事？那我们请同学看到 Wendy 的回答。这位女性顾客叫 Wendy， 她就回答说我最小的小孩 My youngest child has a tendency to be naughty. 请同学把 has a tendency to 画起来。看到这个 tendency， 老师呢想要从它的动词 tend 倾向这个片语来跟大家解说。有个动词片语叫 tend to， 有什么倾向会做什么事，非常的重要。举例来说 ，Children tend to break things more easily。小孩子呢比较 有这个倾向，容易把东西弄坏。好的，接着 Doug 怎么说 ？Whatever you do, don't try to flush it again, or else it might overflow, and things could get messy. 请同学特别看到 overflow 这个单字，把 overflow 呢画起来。老师给大家一个例句，我们来看看 overflow 到底怎么使用。The tenant forgot to turn off the faucet before she left for work this morning. By the time she returned, the floor is overflowing with water. 好，这个例子是说到有位房客他在出门上班之前忘了把水龙头关上了。那可想而知，水龙头漏水漏了一整天，等到他回到家里的时候，地板全部都是水。所以我们说 The floor is overflowing with water. The floor is overflowing with water. 那在商务对话里面老师要提醒大家，其实礼貌很重要。同学对于在英文里面如何表现礼貌可能不是那么清楚。那在下面女顾客她其实在询问有没有可能要请他们晚上来维修的时候，她是非常客气的询问。怎么样客气的询问呢？ Is there any possible way you could repair it tonight? 同学请把 Is there any possible way you could 画起来，非常的客气。有没有可能？ You could 这个 could 那就是非常的客气的询问人家可不可以。好，那 Doug 呢，他就针对刚刚这个女性顾客的回应就说 We have an exceptional plumber in your area who's available now to assist you. 的确呢，现在在你家附近就有一个非常出色的水电工人，他可以呢前去你们府上维修。好，Let's discuss the price beforehand. 我们先把价钱讲好，我们事先讲定价钱。How much would it cost? Roughly speaking, 大略来说，大概抓个数字，请问这样子维修要多少钱？ How much would it cost? 好，那我们知道这个女性顾客真的应该是有相关的经验，这么讲好价钱，讲定价钱，才可以避免后续的纠纷。那不过他更厉害的一点是，他也会杀价，而且呢杀价的非常的客气。他说That's a bit higher than I anticipated. 好，这就是非常客气的杀价方式。你刚刚开的价比我预期的有一点点要高诶。结果呢 Doug 就很爽快的呢提供了一个让价，他决定给他们5折优惠。Seeing that you are a new customer, I can offer you a special one-time 50% discount. 我会给你5折的优惠。好的，以上呢，希望同学能够学习到多益测验里面一些重要的单字片语，也希望同学注意到商务沟通当中有哪一些重要的原则可以依循。谢谢大家。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. As we always do, we're going to take a look at these 3 expressions. We're calling them useful. And they're expressions to help you inquire or ask about services, different types of services that are out there. So, number 1, how much does it cost to get a haircut and shampoo at this salon? Here, of course, you're asking about prices. Sometimes they'll post prices of these things, outside on a board. A lot of beauty salons in my neighborhood actually have posted prices, so I have an idea of how much it costs to get my hair cut or washed or styled, or even if I want to dye my hair a different color, they'll put those prices outside on a poster. So how much does it cost? That's a good phrase to remember.
You could also say, how much do you charge for a haircut? Or how much does it cost to get my hair dyed blue or something like that. These are different kinds of questions you could ask a hairstylist at a salon. Here's our next useful expression, inquiring about services. Could you provide a quote so I can discuss your services with my boss? So this might involve something more than just a haircut. It might be about some kind of construction job, a more sophisticated kind of job. Then you're going to need a quote, like how much is it going to cost to fix the engine in my car? Can you give me a quote? Could you provide a quote? Just tell me how much you think it's going to cost.
Yeah, this is good to have if you're not the decision maker. Maybe your boss or even your landlord. Maybe your landlord asked you to call around and see how much it would cost to get something fixed in your apartment. So in that case, you'll need a quote so you can give it to someone else who is the decision maker, someone who's actually paying for that repair or service. So yeah, that's a good one to learn too. Could you provide a quote? Sometimes I call around and get quotes before I decide which company to use. When I get my air conditioner cleaned once a year, I will call around for quotes first. Number 3, do you offer free delivery for orders that are over 3,000 NT dollars?
Right, sometimes they do. They offer free delivery if you buy something that costs over 3,000 NT dollars or whatever the price may be. Sometimes they offer free delivery no matter what you buy, and sometimes they just don't offer free delivery at all. You still have to pay for it, but usually they have some kind of limit there, especially if you park in places like Jalafu, Carrefour or something. You have to buy a certain amount of things in order to get free parking for, say, 2 or 3 hours or something like that. So yeah, do you offer free parking? Do you offer free delivery, etc.? Now, here's our discussion question for today. Can you think of some other emergency services that you might need to call for in the middle of the night?
Yeah, the first one, of course, most of us will think of is calling the firefighters or the fire engine station or the fire station is what we say. Fire department, fire station. Yeah, or the police. Ugh, hopefully you won't need the police, guys. But yeah, the fire department, definitely. I've called them myself. Not here yeah, I did call them once in Taiwan, but I called them in New York a couple of times too. Fires, are pretty dangerous if you don't get some help immediately.
Indeed. So, yeah, you might need to call a plumber if you've got a pipe that's broken and water's splashing all over the place.
Oh, yeah, broken pipe.
And, yeah, you'll probably have to find the master switch for that. But if you can't find it, yeah, you may need to call a plumber or an electrician or whatever. So think about these questions amongst yourselves and ask each other questions and have a very sparkling conversation. You could have a conversation as interesting as the one that we just had. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. It's time now to say goodbye, so thank you for joining us. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.